Welcome back to Never in Reverse Podcast, where growth isn't as pretty as it looks.
Man, this is where we're going to boil things down. You know, the hard decisions, what happens behind the scenes, the pressures, the responsibilities.
We're going to uncover why people look busy, full calendars, crazy schedules, a perspective that doesn't match the outcome.
It's easy to see why, people in leadership roles, they feel exhausted, scattered. I mean, these things can be overwhelming. They can be compounding.
And I can tell you from like a leadership role, man, these moments are real. The minutia of that moment can sometimes create these tasks of compound effect where the progress of the movement isn't actually happening.
Can be an interesting topic, but let's get into it.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Never in Reverse Podcast. I'm your host, Jeremy Axel, co-host, the man, Doug Cox. What's up, Doug?
What's up, man?
Happy February, dude.
Already?
Oh,
I know.
dude,
Hard to believe. One
we're
down,
getting
11 to go.
Man, we're getting rocked with snow right now, so it's been
You are?
it's been cold. And
Man, we haven't. This is one of the driest starts to a winter I've seen here in 20 years. I mean, there's no snow in the Cascades. I mean, they've got, 20 some inches maybe? I don't even know how the ski resorts are staying open. It's been warm. I'm not complaining.
it's been that dry.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
That's kind of like your sales pipeline.
Oh, buddy. Always
Dry.
strong. Hey,
Oh,
man,
buddy.
I take care of customers. Always, man. They
Well,
need
I
help.
can't
They
wait.
know I'm here for them.
It's about as dry as that.
Gee,
that's
many
not-
Christmas.
Well, this episode, guys, we're going to be talking about, this is something that I think we all face, but it's why busy feels productive and it isn't. And I think that topic is a cultural event and phenomenon that happens in our country, probably everywhere, to be honest with you. But, that dopamine hit of just doing stuff. And sometimes you look at the end of the day and you had all this busy work and the needle didn't move. And why does that feel productive? Why do we kind of create these intangible dopamine hits that kind of create and it's different per person, right? Around their past and their complexities of that person. But, we get in these cycles, and I've been there. What do you think about, Doug? Like, those highs, right? The completion high, the task high, like when you knock that thing down, but it really didn't do much, right?
Yeah, and I guess it kind of depends on the role too, I mean, you could, we're looking at this from a 30,000-foot view of just, these dopamine tasks or these dopamine hits and these tasks that, because we know them when we plop in the seat when it's start time and it's go.
Yeah.
A lot of us have, for me, I write things down of things I've got to work through, right? That's just kind of my busy work. It could be, tasks with quotes, or processing different things. And those things can mount on your shoulders. And then when you look back at the end of the day, you're going, gosh, what did I really, from a sales perspective, being a salesperson, what kind of revenue did I generate? I got caught in the trap of busy work, right? And
We're
it
in that,
happens to
man.
us. But I mean, we're trying to find ways of improvement to alleviate just these minute tasks, right? That weigh on you. They can. I mean, if you don't have processes in place, if you're not looking to hone in and sharpen these processes, these things will weigh on you, and being a salesperson, you'll never be in the revenue generating activities or in better support of your customer in their time of needs, right? Because then you just go, oh, I'll get to it tomorrow. And that customer's going, where you at? I need you, man. I'm down. I need help. I'm waving the flag.
Yeah, there's and I can attest, man. You get in these cycles, and you got you wake up, and there's 10 things and requests from customers, and the phone starts ringing, and your list still exists, right? And you can
And it's
kind of
added
get in
too.
these hybrid events, and it creates this hidden element of productivity against what we feel or is productive, right? Like if you really look and I think the biggest thing, for the audience is like, we're in it. We understand that. Like, I think that vulnerability, like to just say, hey, dude, I'm not really moving anything in my life or in my position. And hopefully being able to open up to that leadership or your boss or whatever to explain this to them, to help uncover why, and then hopefully come up with an architecture plan of like, we have broken systems, and that's what it typically comes down to. We're in a moment of that. We outpaced the ability to catch up to our systems, and then these little small cracks that we didn't think about start hitting you. We're
They
like,
start
oh, we got
rising
it.
to the
We're
top.
good. We're
Yeah.
getting a lot better, man. We're better. And then all of a sudden, these three over here that aren't part of that
To create the
process.
stress, the frustration that you get stuck in. And
Yep.
that dopamine hit of, oh, I got them done. Well, guess what? You didn't do anything in your process map to
Yep.
fix those broken spokes in the wheel. So guess what? Then tomorrow shows up and there they are again. Those same daunting tasks that are required of you to tackle.
Yeah, it's Frank. I think it's the hard things, right? That's the hard stuff is like the micro issues. And I try to explain to you guys, man, don't let the moment of seeing that problem, because it only happened once. Don't let that exist. Like, let's nip it on the butt right now. Let's get a plan to that, because what happens is it goes like this, and that problem might seem very small, and then you hit a growth spurt, and it goes
A
probably
onesie twosie, and then just all of a sudden, bam,
exponential.
a dozen of them.
And
Yeah.
and now
Some
you're
examples.
disconnecting from the customer journey. And I just, but the busy work and feeling like I've seen that and those moments where you feel, let's say you have Susie or Johnny in the seat, and they're being really busy, but the supporting elements, they're just getting weighed down by those tasks. And there's a way to get the framework, and we're in a tech-driven world now where you can structure that to create like you said, a process map. But that process, you're never going to design with perfection. But I always suggest, like, let's design 20 years ahead. Not really, but let's get 5. Let's
and knowing
reach.
there's going to be detours, right? There's
Yep.
going to be detours in your process map, and that's okay. But in those detours, how do you take that detour and get back on the freeway, right?
And you got to be really careful, because what can happen is you can sit there and you can stare at that, which I've been a part of that, and I think that potentially you have too. But you can sit there
all have,
and just
yeah.
stare, grow, stare, and then you got leaky buckets, or you got frustrated customers, or you got pinch points, and your whole sales team's upset because you're holding them back from greatness. All the things that happen, right? And it's as simple sometimes as $100 a month investment, and you're
Right.
going, man, but those people they want the growth and they hold back. It's like, man, you're just creating a massive rubber band or an explosion. It's one or the other, because the systems typically will outgrow leadership
Mm-hmm.
and the capacity at points. Like, I've had that, like, where, man, am I thinking big enough? What can I do to lay the foundation for that? Like, to allow the supporting elements. I think that there's personal things that happen in life, and as you're a kid, you bring those through life of fear and anxiety and what if moments and all these storytelling things that leaders can do to withhold that potential, right?
It's where you don't have to relive that experience or that nightmare again. It's like, what can I do, to automate or create structure to where I don't have to live in that moment yet again.
Yeah, and I think it just comes down to motion versus progress. Am I going through the motion, or is the motion equaling B, or A plus B equals C? Because it comes in, I do X, the result is Y, right? Like, are we doing that? Is it X at X? X in, X out equals X, because I'm flat. And you're going to run into patterns of flat. Like, I think leaders, how do you maintain the effort versus progress in that blend, right? Like, there's this humanity blend that, like, you don't want to put too much pressure on people with progress, but you surely, I think, as a leader, and I believe that NVIDIA's leader, if you allow, like, NVIDIA's guy, like the leader of NVIDIA is like, man, if I allow you to be in motion and that's it, I'm hurting you. And I'm a firm believer in that. If I let you sit in that role in motion, there's never going to be progress. We're never going to achieve greatness. You're going to be bored, non-challenged, all these things and some people want that, right? Maybe they're just not in that structure to be part of that greater momentum, and that's okay.
Yeah, but good leaders are great listeners, right? And what I mean by that is when you have good leadership, they're listening to the people that are in the trenches, good, bad, and indifferent, from a sales perspective, from a process or entry or fulfillment, role or task. I mean, they listen to where the friction and the pain points are of these different people in these roles. Because ultimately, salespeople, there's two things that make them tick. money and freedom. And they
Yep.
don't want to hear from that upset customer that it wasn't communicated to them of, when the shipping date is, or, the ETA that arriving, or the problematic issue of things weren't right in the order fulfillment that comes back on the salesperson, because now they're back in it again, trying to solve a problem and an issue for the customer, which I get it. It's not a perfect world, but then you have the support staff that are just largely when you have support staff, they're taking the blunt of the negative side, pre and post sale, right? So they live in crap 90% of the time.
But there's still
So
a positive outcome, right?
there
Like, I
is,
think
but you gotta listen to them and where their friction is and where their pain points are to help them get the excitement of, doing the daily tasks that excite them and not just living in the minutia. And same with the salespeople, but good leaders listen to that and how they can solve those problems. How can we get better in these elements of negativity?
yeah, and I think sometimes you gotta be careful as a leader is, like, if you have the egotistic mentality of being the top dog, I think what you can run into is, "It's your job, dude, just shut up and do it. It's your job. Like, I don't know, I'm not here to babysit you." Like, sometimes people get in these like, they're not hearing, like, what's happening. They might see growth on the top revenue and be like, "Man, look at me," but man, the framework's below. It's like, that's why I wanna be part of it with you guys. I'm not gonna sit over here and, I'm in the trenches, I wanna be part of that win. I like that side of things. I like seeing us work together, and I like seeing those momentum structures, and I like little wins, and I like, not everything that someone brings to you as a leader is valid, right? And that's okay too. And that person that's bringing to you has to understand that. Like, how many times does that happen here every year? Well, once. Probably the bottom of the barrel. Have you
Right.
started seeing this continually happen? Is it getting more frequent? That's when you know, like, hey, dude, we gotta get structure here. I just think the lack of clear outcomes, and I can attest that I don't create clear outcomes. I think that as people, I want the autonomy, and this is probably where I vary, but I want autonomy around people to make human decisions around what they want from themselves. The outcome should support that. If it's not, then I got to jump in and go, hey, this isn't, your math isn't making sense to the outcome.
Right.
You think that A and B equals C, but what we're seeing is either A and B aren't getting done and you expect C, so your desire isn't matching the framework. And that's where the framework has to get structure so that in the business, so that those people can still have the autonomy without their thumb, like, here's my expectations, hit the number. I don't think that's a valid, and I know some people like that high pressure sales environment. I I I thrived in it, but I also understand that I didn't like it because every single time I hit my number, even if it's for the quarter and it was in January, in February they were still asking, and it's like,
Yeah.
man,
Moving the needle,
I
you
already
know.
hit I already hit my quarterly quota. What are you seeking? What is you keep wanting a different outcome because I achieved the initial outcome. Like,
And I've been
you're
a
not
part of organizations where I've met the quota or the requirements from a sales perspective or above and beyond, but the fulfillment and processing, you know, to the customer's needs, our processes were broken. So here I am. I'm dealing post sale with disgruntled customers because we haven't met fulfillment. And I'm going, look, I can go out and sell everything in the world and I can sell our service. I'm a believer in it, but we can't fulfill what's promised upon. And
100%.
that's a negative reflection on me as a salesperson. And now it's taking me out of a position. I'm rescuing and saving this customer that's upset because we didn't do as advertised. And now that's taking time away from me in my revenue generating activities that I'm asked to, fulfill as a salesperson. I mean, that's tough.
Yeah, and you're staying reactive. Like, that's where that leader should say, "Hey, let's pump the brakes a little bit. We're broken. Let's stop, redefine the system, get the right people in the right seat." And we've gone through that. There was a time where I'd say, "Well, we're not ready for this. We're not this, we're going this show is much bigger than what we can do currently." So I stepped back and I didn't even make really outbound true sales calls for over a year. I just maintained and tried to get those maintaining moments proactive, we're ahead of the curve. Like, what does it feel like? And I think we're kind of in that system again between you and I, where we're like, hey, how do we get that flow? So, if you're a leader and you're staying reactive, that reactive nature, it's going to be a bottleneck in where you're going, and you'll never get outside of that. So my suggestion: be curious around what does it look like to be proactive. I mean, there's going to be investments. That's scary. There's going to be hard things that are going to come up. That's hard, right? Like, but those things, no matter what, if you want to get to that other side, they're going to happen. So it's either you do it now, or you're going to sit in the reactive nature, which is like adrenaline. You're going to have fatigue. Like, your team's going to always be stretching to support that. So, and this comes down to the framework of like designing weeks that actually move the business. I can tell you right now, I'm in this I'm trying to get with everything that we have going on. I think that's like a fundamental thing that we are lacking. Like, what is the week look like to actually move and have attainable? We don't need to put all these KPIs and all these, a lot of these people spend all this time on KPIs. Are we growing? Are we profitable? How's our cash flow, man? It's pretty dang simple to me. Obviously we
And
want to
filling in
return
the
on.
gaps behind that,
Are we,
and
are
making
we,
sure that that growth is sustainable, that in the processes, right?
and the outcome planning, I think we do a great job on our infrastructure, just seeing what we need to see, and we get it. It's not wait, we're on it. It's now. We're getting it in the fold, but it's taking a moment to get the structure set to where we can see the light at the end of the tunnel. We can see it way down there. We know
The
exactly
ideas
where we're
are
going.
there. It's putting them into play, right?
Yeah, and
It's
it comes down to like what I told you early on the beginning of the year, man. I want to get down to a few priorities, and I need to just 1, 2,
knock 'em. We've
3,
talked about that.
instead of.
Don't let everything overwhelm you. Knock down one domino at a time.
And the hard thing is sometimes skills or the structure of a team, one team might be so much faster than the next team. You don't want this team waiting to hit the first one to keep that. It's just crazy dynamic. And so then these guys are waiting around for this. This could take another month, and you got dead weight. So you got
It's
to
got to
be.
be harmonious.
It's
Yep,
hard because
it's
sometimes
hard.
it's just depending on the
Tug
people
and
and the
pull.
skill sets.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's also like sometimes it's a moment for, I think, clarity, giving people some space to be like, hey man, I want to get my creative hat on, or hey, I got to come up some ways that we can integrate systems that allow scalability. That downtime isn't always a bad thing. Sometimes that downtime is where the magic happens.
It
If
was
if there
nice
if
last month, when, this country was hit with those nasty storms, and the sales activities kind of slowed up a little bit. Well, it helped me just get thinking and creative around some other ways, and in some other customer relationships that I needed to build upon. I mean, it gave me a moment to breathe and think a little bit rather than just living in the moment and being reactive, right? Because sometimes you get in those moments and being reactive and fulfill and communicating, and all of a sudden you forget the bigger picture of, what services or, customer relations and support that you're trying to provide. And those things kind of become an afterthought. You go, okay, I'll catch up on that tomorrow. Well, guess what? You didn't structure your week, to where you can go and fulfill all these meaningful tasks that are important to your customer relationships because you didn't time block. And I went through some extensive sales training early on in my career in time blocking, and staying in that moment in time for that period of time of just focusing on those tasks at hand in that period. Everything else is noise. You can get to it. Things can wait. But here you are, you're knocking these dominoes down in this moment in time. Then you're moving on, knocking these dominoes down in that moment of time, knocking these down. It's hard because we get off the rails rather than just living in that moment and taking care of that time blocking
and I
activity.
also think it's okay to be honest and don't be critical around sometimes. I think sometimes a framework, the inbound completions of those tasks don't always necessarily show a direct result. I'm a firm believer that over incremental improvement over a certain time creates exponential potential, right? Like, we're actually doing it and moving. Sometimes you complete a task and you're like, I know that's important, but I'm not going to see the life of that because it's a building block. That's okay. Don't feel shameful, or I think it's important just to be like, man, I know, have the momentum in your mind and where you're going as a human, and go, I know where we're going. I know the importance of that task, but don't be licking and sticking stamps and be like, There's no better way to do it, man. This is what we do. I got Susie over there licking stamps, and it's a bottleneck because every time we get more customers, it takes longer to bill, so it takes longer to collect, which means we have
Exactly. It's
cash flow
compounding.
problems.
It's
And then all of a
compounding.
sudden, then the cash flow problems. Not only do they create cash flow problems, it creates the
Spills
ability to
over.
scale, and it hinders your ability because you're stuck in decision making mode because you're fearful. It just creates this crazy dynamic because the scalability starts putting the pressure, and then not only can you get it out fast enough, you can't collect fast enough. And then big customer A, they switched their terms from net 30 to net 90, and it took you 15 days longer to bill it. So now you're at net 105.
105.
And they're 20% of your business. And it wasn't a problem, but now it's a real big problem. And your line of credit expires. And you're being reactive, and now it's consuming you, and now all these things just start compounding. So the front end incremental compounds that you see internally that are happening, that when you're succeeding, you look down and go, it's going great, but they're still happening. When you don't address those in those moments, even when the dopamine and the whatever that leader might be experiencing or the team might be on this high of all that, will when the times change, that exploiting of those moments is compounding.
Yep, compounding effect. Exactly.
So just be aware, guys. I said, just for you as a leader, if you're new or you're in these moments, I understand it. Our team's in it. We get it. I think it's okay to admit it. We're not perfect. You're not. You're human, and we're still learning, and it's a journey and
seeking
customer
improvement.
shift. And but ask yourself, where are you busy versus effective? What feels productive, but motion isn't. There's no, it's not moving anything. Like, always question yourself and be honest. And I think it's important to be open with your team. Like, I'm not perfect, man. Like, here's what I'm seeing. I feel like that at times, man. We got all this stuff that we're doing, like, but I'm not seeing the outcome. What's stop here? We're going a month and I don't see anything.
Right.
Are we just that? And then that came, that's
what's
why it's
weighing
me,
us
like, man,
down? Ask the questions. Listen.
it's probably me.
Mhm.
It's probably me distracting them from being precise. And as I put tasks or requirements in, they assume that they're now, when honestly, I'm just trying to make sure. I always call it like data dump. I do it a lot where I got a lot of stuff, a list on my plate, and I'm like, man, I got to make sure these are moving. And it could overwhelm that person. Like, man, he's got another one. Is that now? And maybe I'm not being clear. So ask yourself first, is it you as a leader not giving the framework and stability to the team to understand the importance of every single thing that's coming at them? I know it's me. I can raise my hand right now.
Yeah.
So thank you guys so much for joining us on this episode of Never Reverse. Thanks for spending time with us and with this conversation.
Give us some feedback. Love to hear your guys' perspectives again. What's working for you in your environment? I mean, we're still, open to learning, as we grow and navigate through this too. I mean, every day's got challenges and facing them head on. And
yeah, just don't, when you have these feelings or these emotions that pop up, I just think lean into them and just look at them differently. Maybe come at it with a view of curiosity. Hey man, why is that coming up? And make sure that you're not hindering your ability to allow the team to flourish. Right. So, but before you guys go, connect with us on all social media platforms: YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, X. If you want to listen to audio, Spotify, Amazon.
all of them, all the audio platforms: Apple, Spotify,
Amazon Music. But yeah, just subscribe, guys.
Give us some feedback.
Yeah, we want this journey. We want to be part of it. We're teenagers, right? Like, we're getting into that moment. It's like there's so much more to learn. So thanks so much, guys. Until next time, have a great day. Take care.